Morning everyone, Nick here from CPAP Reviews. Thanks for tuning in again to another one of my videos. Yesterday I did a little video on the ResMed AirMini travel CPAP machine. Just talked about a few of its features and also went through the AirMini app. I've also done some sort of tutorials on some of the other travel machines as well. So I thought in this tutorial, instead of having all these separate videos, I'll just have this one video. I'll keep it pretty brief, but I'll just have the three sort of travel CPAP machines, if you like. I'll quickly go through the important things like size, weight, noise level, and some of the features of the machines. There is a few differences between them, which I'll talk about, and that way, if you are considering getting one, you sort of have all the information you need to go ahead and make a nice informed decision. All right, cool. So in front of me here, I'll just take you through it. We've got the Transcend Travel CPAP machine. So I'll just give you a bit of a pan around of this unit so you can have a quick look at it. Then we have the Z1 travel CPAP machine. And then last of all, we have the AirMini by ResMed. Right, so they're your three different machines. Now, in terms of pricing, I'm going to talk just retail pricing. Obviously, there's different degrees of discounting on the different machines. So let's just talk retail here. The ResMed AirMini is the most expensive, retailing at $2,100. You do, however, get a mask with that, and that was either a ResMed P10, a ResMed N20, or a ResMed F20. Those masks normally retail around the $275 to $300. Once again, retail, there are some discounters and stuff like that. So you do get a mask included. The Z1 retailing at $1,300. Now I'm talking about the automatics here, just so you know. These two machines you can get in fixed pressure modes, which are slightly more affordable, but majority of our customers are going auto these days. So I'm just going to cut to the chase and go the automatic. $1,300 for the Z1 Auto retail, and $1,200 for the Transcend Travel Auto. All right, so that's retail there. So quite a big leap up in price once you get past the Z1 to the AirMini machine. Let's talk about weight, because obviously that's one of the important things when you're going to get a travel CPAP machine. You're looking to save on size and you're looking to save on weight, because it's obviously more convenient to carry around something that's nice and light and small than it is a big unit. All right, so sizing. Start the Transcend. The actual machine, 433 grams by itself. When you add the power supply, it takes it up to 657 grams. So it's the heaviest. Next in, we have the Z1. Machine weighs 297 grams. And when you add the power supply to that, it takes it up to 545 grams. So around 110 grams lighter than the Transcend. And then the ResMed is 299 grams. And when you add the power supply to it, it takes it up to 501 grams. So it's about 44 grams lighter than the Z1 when you add the actual power supply for the unit to run it. Obviously, you need a power supply to run it. Size, when it comes to size, the ResMed AirMini is the smallest. Then you have the Z1, and then the Transcend's got the largest footprint of the travel CPAP machines. You know, if you sort of compare them up there, you can sort of get an idea as to sort of the size. There's not a huge amount of difference. All right, but there is a little bit of a difference there. So there you have the size. When it comes to noise level, if you look at my AirMini video, you would have seen I used this little device, which is the decibel recorder, just to give you a realistic expectation of the noise levels. They are a little bit noisier than your standard full-size machines. I've gone through that before. And the manufacturers, when they give out those decibel readings on their little specifications charts, are very misleading. they will give you numbers like 26, 29, very, very low numbers, where ambient room noise, if I just very quiet ambient room noise is around 30 decibels. So the machine's obviously noisier than ambient room noise, so when I do this decibel meter, I use the same mask across all machines, set the machines to 10 centimeters, which is a nice middle of the range pressure, breathe the same on all of them. We had the ResMed coming in at a max of 59 decibels, and it was sort of going between 56. The Z1 was coming in at 60 decibels, which is 1 decibel louder, and we had the Transcend coming in at 62 decibels. So there isn't a huge difference in the volume of the machines across the board. You know, a couple of decibels here and there. It's very small difference. You can do things to improve the noise level. There are some like Q-tube CPAP mufflers and things like that. If you are concerned, some of the masks certainly make the noise appear louder than it actually is. You know, the Dreamwear with the travel machines isn't fantastic because the air seems to rush really heavily through the tubes that run next to the ears. And so, you know, different masks definitely make the machines appear to sound differently. That's my experience. So some I've used make it sound really quiet. Some I've used, I definitely notice a difference there. So maybe just try a few different masks with it and see which one you find is the quietest. But noise level, yeah, look, a little bit noisier. I don't think it's a massive issue. When you get up to those higher levels, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, you're probably going to notice a bigger difference because they start to get a bit of a pitch to the noise. Those little motors tend to have a higher pitch, and that pitch can sometimes be a bit distracting for people. All right, so that's what we've gone through: cost, size, and weight. So let's just talk about maybe a few of the features. At the moment, the Transcend and the Z1 are the only ones that come with battery options, although ResMed is soon to release a battery option at some point in the near future. At the moment, the Transcend batteries look similar to this. They have a P4 and a P8. P4 being a single night battery, lasts for a full night. The P8 being a multi-night battery. That can be true and it can be not true. If you're on a high pressure, sometimes you don't get 2 nights out of the full P8 battery, but you should get close to 6-7 hours of use with the P4. So that's your sort of P4 there. This is your power shell, which goes with the Z1. They have these little sort of batteries that just pop into the actual shell itself, so you can get replacement ones of them. But they just pop in pretty straightforward, click it in, and then the machine just clicks in as well. So that's kind of like your little pack there, like your power pack if you want to go camping or something like that. Obviously everything's sort of conveniently put into the one place, whereas with the Transcend, it's a freestanding battery. So you do have that battery sort of floating around. So that's your battery systems. You sort of can get aftermarket batteries as well, but I can't be bothered going into that just right now. Let's talk about the features that separate them. I'm going to do a chart, which is kind of just like a PDF, so it has ramp and it will have a tick next to all the machines, or so you can basically just view it all. And I'll put that in the link at some point in the description of the video. The only one with the screen is the Z1. So if you want to change settings on the actual machine, instead of doing it through your computer or a smartphone, the Z1 is the only one with that screen option. So it has things like the pressure, changing things like the pressure relief, the ramp time, all those sorts of things you can change on the actual screen as well. It does have an app as well called Night Log, and you can change settings on the app as well. So they've got Bluetooth, and the ResMed also has Bluetooth and an app called the AirMini app. The Transcend doesn't have an app. You have to connect it up to a PC to be able to load software onto the PC and then change settings through a Transcend software. Okay, so the Transcend doesn't have the Bluetooth there. What else? They've all got pressure relief, which is great. So if you're someone who struggles to breathe against the pressure, the machines all have pressure relief. What else? The ResMed has smart start and smart stop, which the other two don't have. So it will automatically turn on when you start breathing, automatically turn off when you stop breathing. The others you actually have to physically press the button, which is not the end of the world. But sometimes, you know, the machine might be in a place where you can't get to it. You know, maybe under your seat on an aeroplane or something like that. So it might be easy just to put your mask on and start breathing instead of fiddling around looking for it. It also has the smart ramp, which is basically the machine will stay nice and low until you fall asleep. It can detect your sleep onset and then it will adjust upwards accordingly. So that's the ResMed. These two don't have a smart ramp. They've just got a standard ramp. To be honest, most of the auto algorithms are pretty good anyway, and they will just stay nice and low when you're awake because you're not having sleep apnea, and then when you start having sleep apnea, they will go up as your breathing starts to become restricted. You know, that's pretty much it. I've sort of had a bit of a brain fade as to what other differences there are. At the end of the day, I think, you know, all these little bells and whistles, they're not really that important. The main thing you want to look at when you're getting a machine is A, what can you afford? You know, what's your budget? That's the first thing. B, you know, what sort of size do you really need, like the smallest, lightest, or you're pretty happy to have, you know, a little bit extra weight. And then, yeah, C, do you need things like a screen or stuff like that, you know, if you're not good with smartphones and stuff like that. So, but most people go on price, you know, because between the three of them, although there's a little bit more size in the Transcend, they're all pretty much around, you know, pretty similar weights. They're all pretty similar noise levels. You know, some of them have a few little extra features, but at the end of the day, it is a travel machine. Once you put that mask on and start breathing away, you know, it's just air pressure. To break it down quite simply, it really is just air pressure. I will talk about one more thing just before we go. The heat moisture exchange filters. So Transcend actually have built a humidifier with this machine, but it's really big and I wouldn't get it if you're looking for a travel machine because it's too big. It makes the unit way too big. They don't actually have heat moisture exchange filters, but you can buy the same heat moisture exchange filters that the Z1 have and use them with the Transcend. So you can get these heat moisture exchange filters. These are 10 days. They last for 10 days before you need to reuse them, and they're around. You can pick them up for around 10 to 15 bucks. ResMed have what they call the Humidity X ones, and the Humidity X Plus ones. They're little heat moisture exchange filters again. They can only be used with the ResMed machine, and they last 30 days each one before you need to replace them. One note before leaving, with these two machines, you can use any mask. So they have your standard tubing that you can use any mask with. ResMed, you can only use the P10, the N20, or the F20, and they're specifically modified versions of those masks that come with a special connector to be able to put these HME filters in. They screw in. So that's a really important note just to make on that last little bit there. You know, if you're really comfortable with your own mask and you don't want to change, if you're happy to, you know, check out the ResMed P10, the N20 or the F20 and you find that suitable for you, you can definitely go a ResMed AirMini. Yeah, so I hope that's given you some insight there. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like. It doesn't cost anything. You'll get all the updates as I do the videos. When all the new cool stuff gets released from the manufacturers, I'll break it down, let you know what it's like, and we'll go from there. Comment if you want to leave some feedback, and yeah, like the video, share the video, whatever you want to do. Hope everything's going well for you. And yeah, make sure you check out the travel CPAP machines, especially if you are someone who moves around a lot, likes camping, likes boating, likes caravanning. They are pretty cool. All right, cheers.